And then, well, if it is legal, shouldn't they mark it as vaccinated?
Out posts about that, and I was, I know, also with the food colorings and stuff, and there's foods, where we talk about, having, eating stuff that is from the farms, and buying them, if you can, buying them your meat from butchers and your local butchers instead of our farms, instead of going to the big, store names, grocery stores and stuff like that. But now it's creeping into vegetables, which you would think getting them anywhere. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I know there's that one appeal, whatever. If it's, you see that on the label, that's Bill Gates. That you don't want that. But if pretty much, if you go to most, even like ShopRites around by me here in New Jersey, they say, that these are sourced from local farms. But do we know if they're laced with, vaccines? That's scary. That's really scary, truth.
Well, look up. Somebody says sourced from local farms. Well, what local? Where do you mean local? When they patent or trademark or copyright a phrase or a word, you got to go look it up. Like the U.S. Patent Office is pretty trippy when you go. It's all online. Everything's done online. There's no snail mail. I've patented quite a few things and trademark things, and it's a process. But when you go searching through there, if you see something, look it up. Look up if that word or phrase is actually copywritten or patented or trademarked, and you'll be surprised. So where's local? What does that mean?
100%. Hey, Susan, how are you today?
Good morning. Good morning. Um, yeah, I saw that this morning and I'm like, what? So are they going to label these lettuce and tomatoes contains vaccines, i.e. polio? Well, what the hell. Anyway, I just wanted to mention, if you guys haven't been paying attention to what's going on up in Canada and how President Trump is reacting to it, the amount of fentanyl that comes across the border, and in BC, they're the fentanyl capital, no longer Mexico, in Venezuela and Colombia. Keep an eye on what's going on up there. Over 2.2 million out of a population of 40 million are on food pantries now. They're opting to buy food and not pay their bills. 65,000 in the last year and a half of young Canadian professionals have emigrated to the United States. They're in big trouble. And the fact that the Chinese have totally taken over their country with military young men coming over from China and setting up police stations, has happened 10 years ago. Things are things are getting spicy up there, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. I don't think that, because of the Monroe Doctrine, I don't think Trump is going to allow China to take over Canada. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow, I hope not. And we were just talking about that with the border, the northern border. I think he's got a pulse on these things. I think he's watching this a lot. Just because he's not saying it or it's not being talked about, like the southern border.
Julie, we lost you.
Yeah, I agree. And Scott Bassett is keeping very close eye on the amount of money laundering that's going on up there. So we'll see how this turns out. I think Mark Carney is. They took the finance minister and all his professionals in his cabinet to China to talk to Chinese finance people. Things are really strange up there. Why Mark Carney is doing this to his citizens, I have no idea. But it is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in one country. I never thought of Canada as being a threat, whether it's financially, whether it's drugs or militarily. They don't have a military. But the problem is up there is that you've got loyalists, you've got your boomers up there that are not like our boomers, because 50% of our boomers voted for Trump, as I did. I'm a boomer. So they are in big trouble because they think their country is perfectly fine and doing well, and they got their little pensions, and they don't seem to care about the young people in their country. It's very, very strange what's happening up there.
Yes, it is. Sorry, I'm just having technical difficulty here. I'm trying to get Julie back up here, and I'm not sure what the heck is going on because now it's not even letting her request show up. So let's get that going. But yes, Susan, there is a lot going on that people don't talk about, and that's why we brought it up. Julie, are you able to speak again?
Yeah, I got totally thrown out. It was like clear your cache. There's a bug, so I just cleared it all. Oh, I was in Carmen's space earlier. They were talking about XRP and all the stable coins and the assets and everything. And I noticed that when I was in there, I was getting a lot of like friend requests. And I was looking to where they were from, and they were like Nigeria and Africa, and I was blocking them. But maybe I didn't get them all,
Yes. That's,
and they're messing with me. And I see Marlon's here. Hi, Marlon. I hope you're feeling better.
he ain't taking a mic yet, but
And the problem is all these people are these Nigerians, and I saw several posts. Then I look at the date that they came in, and it says Nigeria. They're posting some very anti-American, pro-Iranian things. Now, whether these are they can't possibly be the Iranians because they have no internet, as far as I know. They may not. I don't really know, but a lot of the Canadians are using what the Nigerians are posting as fact. Did you know they were flipping out in the Canadian spaces yesterday because they thought Donald Trump was going to nuke Iran? Holy shit. I mean, these people are out of their minds. They really are. You should go into
Susan,
some. Go
Did
ahead.
you read the truth that Trump put out about CNN putting out the fake demands? That
I
came from a
did.
Nigerian website or something too. That came from Nigeria. He even said it in his truth that looked followed it back, and it's from a Nigerian account or whatever that gave CNN, and then they went and spewed it before Trump put out his actual truth of what the letter was from Iran stating there was no demands. It was, what they are going to do. And it's the other way around. Trump will cease fire for 2 weeks, and they have to open up the Straits of Hormuz. They will, the whole thing. I'm going to get the list, the letter, the actual letter from his truth account, though. Sorry to interrupt you, Susan.
Oh, no. You didn't interrupt me. And what I found odd is that the 10-point plan that Iran came out with is totally different from the 15-point plan that Trump came up with. So now I don't know which one they're going with. And I think that 10-point plan came from Nigeria.
yeah, until we see it posted on either Donald Trump's real account or the White House, because they're pretty up on putting the truth out there, the facts out there. Anything else we see that's not verified is a joke. I'm sorry, my dog is just bugging the hell out of my wife to go on a walk. Hey, good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Truth. Can't blame a dog for wanting to go on a walk. Morning, Julie. Marlon, I hope you're feeling better if you can hear me. Something going around. Rule number 1, the left will never like what Trump does. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. But Trump doesn't have a patent on that. They didn't like Reagan. They didn't like Bush Sr. They didn't like Bush Jr. The difference is Trump, like when you see him do his interviews and they ask him those gotcha questions, he's like, who are you with? Oh, you're with the New York Times? Oh, yeah, you're fake news. I mean, he gets in the ditch and he fights it out with them. I trust Trump. Call me him, whatever, but I do. I think he has our country's best interest at heart. And
Agreed.
I think there's a reason why he survived Butler. I think there's a reason why he beat all those indictments. to be our president on our 250th anniversary. I think he's going to be able to get through this thing with Iran. You know, this is the president that was able to walk across into North Korea with Kim Jong Un, and no other president has been in North Korea. And he walked back, and Kim Jong Un went into South Korea with him. He does phenomenal things. So I trust in Trump, and I think that I think he's got this. And that's it.
Okay, so I'm going to read what he wrote last night about CNN. So let me just get back to it again. Okay. So he says, no one can believe that fake news CNN put out a knowingly false and dangerous statement pretending it came from the upper levels of the Iranian government. It didn't. It was totally made up and posted as a headline for purpose of perhaps inflaming a very delicate situation. It was a new troubling making site from Nigeria, and CNN just got caught cheating, a very dangerous thing to do. So there you go. These are from the words of our leader, Donald Trump.
Yeah, he would know. He deals with them every
Yep.
day.
Well,
I said to the Canadians the other day in a space, I says, I don't think you guys, I know you're Canadians, you have no military, you probably don't really have much of a intelligence organization, but do you have any idea the amount of intelligence and processes and technological shit that we have here? We can hear them friggin' breathing over there in Iran. So when we kill one of their big time leaders, their ayatollahs or their mullahs or their finance minister or their minister that attacks their citizens and kills them, we know exactly where they are, who they are, and how long they've been there. I said, you need to step up and get in with the program, because you have no idea what our capabilities are. That's what I said to them the other day. They didn't like that too much.
well, speaking of Trump, I mean, when I think about this, being that our 250th birthday, basically, of this country is this year in July. If Tamalama Ding Dong got elected, we wouldn't have our 250th anniversary. I believe that wholeheartedly. They are set to destroy this country. The Marxist, communist ideals that they bring with them. We have a lot of fronts that we're fighting, but we, the people, are the ones that keep the power and maintain it and fight for this. And hopefully it doesn't get to blows in the street, so to speak, but we're doing all we can every day here on this little X platform, trying to at least discuss all the things going on, making people aware if they're not aware, and then giving them some healthy advice, we hope, to make a difference, to start locally, to do things like that. Hey, Marlon's up here. What's up, Marlon?
Good morning. Morning.
Yeesh.
Oh yeah. Terry, Julie, how you doing, Susan?
Okay, well, not as good sounding as you are. Boy, oh boy, you poor thing. You better be drinking lots of tea.
Black tea and burnt toast. My wife came in the kitchen yesterday. She came, I'm here, right? She came in yesterday. She's like, "There's that smell," and I said, "What smell is that?" And that's burnt toast ground with butter with tea. Julie is my homeopath. Chicken soup.
There you go. Well, hey, whatever gets it going, man. That's all that matters. So eat away at that burnt toast and tea. I'm not a burnt toast person, but
But I love it.
It's all about the carbon.
As long as you're not smelling burnt toast when you don't have it, that's a good thing, because when you smell burnt toast, it's a strong.
See, it's the little things. It's chicken soup. It's every other thing too. But hey, look, yeah, you guys had a great space yesterday, and man, you don't need me. You guys are famous all on your own.
That is
No
not
thanks.
true. Everybody missed you, and especially me and Truth, or Truth and I. Sorry, let's be proper in our grammar here. We did miss you a lot, so it wasn't the same without our famous fish there. So, but really quickly, while I still have the mic open, guys. Now that I see American is in here, please go down to that purple bubble, like and reshare the space here. Then please go over to Rumble and to YouTube and find the American X Live accounts, and they're streaming it live. So please give it a thumbs up. Let's get it up on the algorithm. If you want, leave them a comment over there. Mama's helping run that too. Really deeply appreciate it. We're trying to get this out there for people who do not have accounts on X that want to listen in. I really appreciate that, and thank you.
And Julie, just to kind of let you guys know, this is why it takes a community to do this thing, right? I mean, if I can't do it, and I got you, Truth, and other people have stepped up to do this. That's the important part. So look, I can't thank you enough for doing it. And drudgingly having to go to work today, as I went, it just got worse, and like I just knew. So I really appreciate you guys jumping in. There's two things, actually, there's three things quickly that I want to go over. Somebody had sent me a message, and they had sent me a message that somebody is out there imitating me. Same exact header, same exact picture. That is unique to mine. That picture is mine. That header, somebody made that for me. So if you guys see anything going on, see somebody trying to imitate me, try and take some screenshots, give me the handle name, and let me know, because the last thing I need is somebody out there screwing us up, especially with what we got coming up. Another thing, the Average View crew has really come together to really get this project that is coming out next week really to the forefront. I want to thank everybody that joined in and everybody that's in the community. It couldn't be done without this. So I want a special thanks to you guys. And one more thing, I put a post out today in my county. They're talking about reassessing our towns every year. Did you see this, Julie? So
I saw the article. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But these are the things that are happening while all this other stuff is going on and people are not paying attention. They're just and our legislation is famous for doing these backdoor deal changes and things to our towns and our state. So yeah, I could totally believe this, Marlon, and it's infuriating the things that are happening that are getting the data centers, the taxes, everything. It's just everything about this whole since she's come into office has just been bad, and I think it's only going to get worse.
Well, I mean, they're talking about that plan to the data center coming in 2 miles left from my house. I heard the testimony out of these residents that they hear this constant buzzing. They're really upset in Northern Vineland, and that's not very far from me either. So, New Jersey is no starring light here. They shut down 4 or 5 coal plants on the western part of this state. Now they're going outside of New Jersey to buy power here. This all has to do with the legislation that's going on in our state. It's going right along with them. It's really bad. Live free, tax to death.
Absolutely. All the while they blame Donald Trump for this. Donald Trump has been in office now for 2 years here. He was in for 4 years and then there was another administration. But this is all Donald Trump's fault, by the way. I hope you guys know that this is what your governors are doing. They blaming him for all their problems.
Well, I put out about Spartacus. You saw Spartacus this morning. He's on there screaming on CNN, oh, he needs to be removed. And there are 70 congressional members that feel the same way. And now he's acting more like a king. They are rooting for this regime. They really are. And I feel like our government here in New Jersey is doing the same.
You want to know something, Marlon? All that got blown out of the water last night when he made this deal with Iran, and they came to the table and they negotiated with him. So they could keep blowing all they're going off on this impeachment in 25th Amendment based off of that truth that he sent about obliterating the whole civilization and blah blah blah. But meanwhile, that all got blown out of the water last night. That all got taken away because he's no longer bombing with them. He's negotiating with them. It's a 2-week deal. There's nothing. If you listen to the press conference today with Pete Hegseth and Raising Cane, they have nothing left. They have absolutely nothing left.
So I feel as though this morning, now they're going to work with the regime. You're going to see these people coming out. Oh, I got guys that are conservative sending me messages that, oh, we're playing right into Israel's hands and Iranians' hands, and this is just false. This is so bad on the other side, and it's affecting people's minds. It really is. It's really hard to take, especially the people that are sending me messages. I mean, it feels like they totally flipped, and they want to go after Trump administration, remove him, and back to the same question. Who did they put in
They call that the woke mind virus because it's a fact. I know Zach's been patient with his hand up. Go ahead, Zach.
Good morning, guys. Hope you get better, Marlon. Hope we need you in this fight. I got your back, man.
Well, thanks for that, Jack. And it feels good to be needed.
Yep. Need you.
Well, little steps, right, guys? Little. So, hey, we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're hey, man, stepping forward. So, let's go.
Okay, well, Marlon, since you're up here, there's a new person that's requesting a mic. He keeps coming up. I don't know who he is. I don't know his account, but would you like to give him a chance? This is your space, really.
It's from Vietnam. The account is in Vietnam, just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to totally remove him. Bye.
Netanyahu just said that Lebanon wasn't part of the ceasefire.
And I don't blame them for saying that. You know why I say that? That was the only country that didn't get bombed, that Iran did not bomb, because, hey, they know Hezbollah's there, and that's their stronghold. That's what your CIA taxpayer money has facilitated.
Yep.
It's a bot. So let me just remove.
Yeah, I removed him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's gone. Removed.
remove.
Oh.
The crap that you put up with when you're up here, Marlon knows all too well.
Oh, man, you got to become numb to it. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm not worried. None of these idiots online.
Hey, I saw Nika was up here yesterday, and I wanted to say something to Nika about what I've been taking. I'm taking this lean, really helping my lungs out here, and I know she's a fan of it in the background, but
Well, if she
Is it
listens
Mullen?
to this,
Isn't it Mullen? Not Muline. Mullen?
Mullen, yeah, Moline, or no, but Muil.
I think it's Mullen. I think I remember James talking about that Mullen.
Yeah. Actually, he's the one that turned us on to it, but I've been taking it faithfully ever since I felt, messed up, but my lungs are mostly clear. How about that?
Yeah, it sounds like sinuses. Sounds like, that's what's, going on is sinuses. Everybody's, I think it's coupled with, if you have allergies, it kind of gets a little worse. So my husband just went through all this. He finally is feeling better. It took a while, but he's feeling better.
There's a lot of people sick. So I know some people at Easter, they were sick. Yeah. Wonder why.
Well, you're here and it's all good. And if you need to dip out, you got this. Yesterday, I was surprised how many dang people showed up. So that was cool, you know.
Like I said, you guys are famous all on your own.
No, I'll pass on fame. No thanks. Been there, done that. Anonymity is probably the most valuable asset in your life, believe it or not. And then,
Well,
go ahead, Mara.
I think today is a different day. I would like to hear the spin, what you're going to hear later today. But does it sound like the Iranian regime is done? And when he talked about civilization, I think he talked the civilization that hey has been plaguing Iran for the last 47 years. That's basically he's not saying he's going to wipe out a civilization of Iranian. I mean, it's so ridiculous how they spun it.
Right. I mean, the whole point is he's doing this to liberate the Iranian people. The people that are in charge are the evil ones, not the Iranians. I've got lots of wonderful, amazing family friends from Iran, and they're amazing people. Love their families, and they're not what the media portrays it. They're portraying the leaders, the disgusting pigs that they are, should have been eliminated a long time ago. They destroyed that country, close to 50 years ago. It's sad to have seen it, and everybody just ignored it from administration to administration because they used those governments for whatever needs they had, whether it be creating false wars or fake crap and creating terrorists and cells. I mean, come on, wake up a little bit, because the warmongers that want the enemy or can at least make us think there's an enemy, and we associate it to the people, to the country, and that's not the facts. It's always been that elite group of pieces of crap that all they want is power and money and, all that kind of stuff.
Well, the Iranian people are saying, don't trust the regime. Don't do a deal with them. Keep going. That's what the Iranian Americans are saying today. So come on, who's fooling who here? To watch CNN advocate for that regime is unbelievable. So un-American, it's nauseating. I don't even know why, and my wife's probably mad because I'm giving them ratings. Oh, I get, and listen, man, that's not as bad on Fox. It really is. Hannity, I can't even stomach that dude anymore.
Well, they're all paid. They don't give a crap what they say, what side they're on. They're getting paid, and they get paid more to spew out more lies. There's no accountability, right?
Why are we hearing, even out of Trump's mouth, why are we hearing Central Casting? Have you heard this notion in the last 3 or 4 days? Am I wrong here? Oh no. They're trying that shit, man. Again.
Yeah, he's exposing, trying to get people to wake up. Look it up. Look up central casting. Look up what it means. So many people are
We know
asleep.
what it means.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, are we recognizing that he's putting it back out there in front of us? I mean, that's the way I kind of felt about it. Like, Maria Bartolomeo, the Fox business. I mean, are all these people fake? I mean, that's basically what they're saying.
Well, I strongly believe that a lot of the people, especially the new ones that come out, aren't even real. They're AI. I'm still convinced that stupid singer girl, whatever her name is, that everybody's always in controversy for, is not real. She's AI. I can't remember her damn name because I just try to forget. But I did see that Russell got a mic, by the way.
Yes, I see.
I'm out here, guys. I was just putting my thoughts together, and I was going to step in. I was just I had a long trip yesterday, went all the way to South Carolina from Alabama, picked up my nephew, he tried to break his leg on his truck the other day and got off for a couple of weeks. So I went and got him. And I just wanted to mention that I hadn't been on the road. So at the, I went through Atlanta yesterday, had it on 10 o'clock in the morning and never stopped on I-20. And that was an accomplishment that I had never had before.
That's a miracle, dude.
Yeah, yeah, and I noticed a lot of the truck stops and stuff. I don't see the Islamists hanging around, and I could just tell there's a difference, and the traffic is lighter and everything else, and that's kind of what I noticed, and just the whole country is ready for this change. I talked to some people at the Mexican restaurant when we stopped, and they're in the middle of South Carolina, and it was a good trip, no issues. I've got something else that I'm waiting to find out about. I'll let you guys know as soon as I find out about it. But I may be some kind of a advisor to the Congress. If this paperwork is correct, but I'm dealing with a government website that they told me to. So I filled everything out and I'm waiting for approval. And some kind of an advisor to their joke up there. So anyway, I'm gonna land right there. I got nothing really to say. I'm gonna listen and you guys spark my interest.
Well, thanks for coming and supporting, even though it ain't Marlon behind the host mic. You know,
Hey,
he's playing the sick card today and making us work. So, all right, Marlon, I see how it is. I can fake the sick voice too.
that's all right. We're all Americans. That's the key. We're all Americans. We're all trying to push to the same storybook ending, hopefully.
Hey, it's a miracle. I believe in miracles, and if y'all don't, you witnessed one. If you watched President Trump get shot at, that was a miracle. Making that shot, I can tell you myself, you know, with or without my damn military background, that I could make that shot 100 times out of 100 times. And the fact that his head didn't get blown off, that's an act of God, quite frankly. But go ahead there, Drew.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, there's a lot of good things that that happened last night. Obviously, the biggest one was the the 2 week agreement instead of having to just blow up more stuff and everything. And I mean, let's see what happens with that. But I also wanted to highlight down in Georgia, they had the special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene's vacated seat, and the guy he won, the Republican Clay Fuller won. So that's good because we need to keep all of our seats in Congress, and it just shows that he was endorsed by President Trump, but it also shows the power of the people that they weren't going to allow this to happen again. And we all know what happened in Georgia was one of the biggest. It's going to come out as the biggest, election fraud that happened with the 2020 election, right? So,
Probably the biggest thing I see with that, and listen again, I have some warm words for her, but I have less the more and more I see her, right? Honestly, the inexperience of being a politician really shines through. The biggest part and the best part of that conversation is now there's not a vacancy and a vote there, right? That's what you did. Everybody's screaming, but really the biggest is that you put that sane vote out there. It's one more vote for the other side. So realistically, her not voting is actually 2 votes for the Democrats.
oh yeah, no, I know, and I have to say, our Congress has really been holding the line, and they've really been putting a lot of good things through. They're not playing the same shenanigan games that the Senate's playing, and I am so happy to see that, and I'm just so happy that we kept that seat. So you're absolutely right, though. One vote less is one more vote for the Democrats. So it's just a nice thing. But I know we have a couple topics going on around here, but that was really important that we talk about that because local elections make a difference, right? Our state elections and who represents us from that state is mostly important, especially on the federal level. support that we need, and that's a good thing. So
You know what the real shame, Julie? You know what the real shame of it is? That Michael didn't win that chair, right? Not even like, but if a guy like that would have gotten into that chair position in the state and being the head of the Republican Party and really putting a good Republican message out, that's really a shame. I hope he keeps his word. What it sounds like, where do you get a chair like that? Revitalize the vote here in Jersey. I mean, it's unreliable, right? The Republicans are unreliable in New Jersey. Basically, what it is.
oh yeah, well, it goes to lot to tell. I mean, he's a thorn in their side, and now it's starting to show. Do you know on Instagram, Cory Booker is following him on Instagram.
I heard it's best.
And he had a strong message back for him. He said, "Don't look for a follow back."
I saw it. I saw the tweets that he put out. That's hilarious. So, hey, well, you know what? Maybe Spartacus is smarter than I'm giving him. He should be understanding what the opposition is doing. But there's a guy that, now, hey, maybe he's catching some steam. Now, in another 2 years, he can make a run at that chair. And then you talk about changing, even the overall mess out of Republicans here. It's infectious. And you start
it's hard, Marlon. I talk to him pretty much every day, and he, it's a defeating thing. Like sometimes he wants to throw the towel in, but he knows that, what he has started and what he's doing for our state and being a spokesman, whether, even though he's not holding any office of any kind, he's very important and very vital to people. I mean, for all the likes and the comments he gets, he does get a few that are outliers that are just, tell him he's ridiculous and everything, but it's not that many. And he really puts it out there. So kudos to him. He's got to keep fighting. And yeah.
But that's just it, right? It's the same thing that Texas happened. Whether or not there's out ratified that election down there with Doc. It sounds like Doc got a lot more than what it was proposed, right? More like 41%, maybe even close enough for a runoff. So, you know what Republicans here in New Jersey got to do? This is when you got to step up to the bat. This is really when you understand who Republicans really are. Wait, just wait, because there is going to be a revitalization in the Republican Party here in New Jersey. And these towns, I believe, with the gerrymandering, not using the illegals in the census, that totally changes everything. So I'm excited because that's what it takes. It takes election cycles. This shit ain't won in one election cycle. This takes years. So when people understand that they're not going to get the guillotine decisions politically, you have to understand what the system's all about. Now, I understand, Marlene, you're talking about the system and you're a part of it. No. It's either you know what the system is doing and understand how to navigate it. And that word compromise, people better get used to that word, because that's the only way you get done in the system that we have set up now.
Yes, absolutely. And another infection we have to get rid of that represents the Republican Party is Chris Christie. That man is nothing but a stain on our state, a big fat stain. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
But
Why hasn't anybody named him Krispy Kreme? Because that's
he's all the time.
Remember all the memes. I mean, come on with the guy. Remember when 95 they had the fire?
When he closed down the beaches and then he was caught sitting on the beach on his chair. That's the biggest meme that goes around everywhere. For every sinkhole we have, for every fire, for every collapse or whatever, they always put that picture of him sitting in that damn chair.
When you said not going to beaches, what I love about where I was born and raised in Hawaii is that they tried to keep Hawaiians from going to the beach, and a bunch of the local blalas, they beat the crap out of their people trying to keep them from the beach. Like, no, bro, not today.
You know the gentleman that spoke about God saving Trump for a greater purpose? I just
know
looked
the
something up.
gentleman. That's me.
He was shot at 6:11 in the afternoon, early evening, right? Holy crap. Look up Ephesians 6:11. It says, "Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." I just got the chills.
Yeah, the Bible is the living word. People want to try to deny that, but it's a fact.
Susan, and it's been referenced many times. You know, I look, and a lot of people from other parts of the country don't know who he is. They weren't exposed to him as a kid. I remember when he became his tycoon through New York and Atlantic City. I mean, that's how he did it, right? And the guy was a good businessman. At the end of the day, they talk about when his racism came out. There were so many people that I knew that worked for him. You go into his hotels and go and greet all of the workers, even the people in the unit would go up and talk to these women and whoever was doing the concierge service. He would talk to them every time he was in. So like this, we knew he wasn't racist from the beginning here. Right now, I hope for
I'm losing you, Mark.
Marlon, you're rugging a lot.
You can hear us. We can't hear you.
Just when you think that the Democrats know exactly who Donald Trump is, they have no friggin' clue how smart he is, how he plans things, and every single thing he said he would do for us, he's done. That's what I look at. And it's
100%, Susan. 100%. You couldn't have said that any better. And that's why everybody tells you, look, when you see a truth, and I do this all the time, when I see a truth on X that I'm not quite sure that he's written it because it looks a little nefarious. Like, well, I have to admit, when I saw that one on Easter Sunday, at first I was like, wait a minute, I got to go look. And if for sure enough, it was on his True Social page because now with AI and everything else, they're just there's so many uh, issues with that. So, but yeah, they think they know him. Like I said last night, they all were screaming 25th Amendment, impeach, 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 impeach. Where Cory Booker might have been still talking about it today, but pretty much that just got diffused last night. Just what you said. They thought that he was this deranged man, and he wasn't. He was just calling their bluff. What he was doing was calling their bluff.
Julie, can I hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we do, Marlon.
Think of it like, I'm sorry about that. So, Susan, I hope you're right. And I feel in my bones at some point there's going to be all of those questions are going to be answered. We have to see the financial reset. There's a lot of things that go along with this thing. But at the end of the day, the man has done a lot to save the country. Could you imagine if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016? Could you imagine what it would look like as far as Kamala Harris winning in 2024?
I mean,
It wouldn't be this country wouldn't be existing anymore. That's what would be, Marlon. This wouldn't be our country anymore. And it would. I shudder to think what it could be like and what it would be. We would definitely be wearing burqas as women, and we would be Sharia law would be everywhere. Yeah, no. I don't even want to think about what would happen if he was there, if she was in charge.
how many attacks do you think we would endure? Think about what they probably had set up. I mean, we all know Hillary, right? I mean, the list is growing. I think we talked about it in somebody else's space. Do we need a rock to fall on our head to actually do something about the immigration problem? How many prayer rugs did they find in the deserts in Arizona and Texas? I mean, do we need a rock to fall on our head, or are we worried about their feelings? I think he looked like a freaking genius. And look at all the government that pushed back on his immigration policy. That's how ignorant people are. All they did was focus on the Spanish when he knew that what he was doing was going through that society with a fine tooth comb. Why do you think there's no sleeper cells here? And he's way ahead of us.
What's interesting is the fact that they're quite aware. Marco Rubio, as the Secretary of State, is quite aware of the Iranian regime family members that are here. And you must have saw it over the weekend that Soleimani's niece and great niece are in ICE custody and are being deported. And there's hundreds more that green cards will be removed and they'll be deported. So that's a good thing. I mean, everyone thinks that, our government right now is floundering. We're not getting rid of illegals. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Well, gee, the judges aren't stopping Trump anymore. So everyone who thinks that it's not happening, it's happening. Because when Obama was president, do we have any idea that there were being deportations? No, it was the media that made Trump the bad guy. So Pritzker just let out 1,700 bad guys out of his ICE detainer jails, and now they're back on the streets: murderers, rapists, child molesters. Thanks, Governor Pritzker. So what did our new Department of Homeland Security do? He's going into all the sanctuary cities and is going to put down the friggin' hammer. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Truth. Hey, we're a sanctuary state here in New Jersey. When are they going to lift the status for that?
We have sanctuary cities. She's trying to make it a sanctuary state, Marlon. We have sanctuary cities. The whole state is not sanctuary state, but that's what she's moving towards, is a sanctuary state, not just sanctuary cities.
I don't know, Julie. You know what? The ins and outs of exactly what that bill says. Think about the state legislature actually passed that shit. I mean, my God, how much more do we have to swallow? So, you know what? Trump looks like a freaking player today. Strength. But what was the notion? The notion was peace through strength, right? We've been told that our entire lives, and you look at what happens when we're weak. Man, could you imagine another 4 years of Biden? How weak we would be? I don't know. It bothers me at night. Really does.
Well, I just asked Rock about how many people have been deported since Trump took office, and 2.5 to 3 million total illegal aliens have left the U.S. or been deported on their own, self-deported or deported. Includes an estimated 1.9 to 2.2 million self-deportations. The rest have been deported. That has been so. For all the illegals, I mean, like we were talking about, Truth said like over 50 million, right? That came in under the Biden administration. Already they've gotten this many deportations. Now, most of these people are of real a danger to the U.S. They are the worst of the worst, and that's okay. So we're getting the worst of the worst out. But this goes also back to the Salazar's proposal that legislation she's putting forward for the Dignity Act, which really is just a hidden agenda word for amnesty for all these illegals that have come over since Biden allowed all these illegals to come. And that's just not going to happen. No way. If you came here illegally, you're illegal. Goodbye. Go back over the border. You can self-deport and then you can come back the legal way. That's how it has to be done. Unfortunately, I know that there's people that have been here for years and years and years and years, and they paid into the system, blah, blah, blah. But the point of the matter is they have not tried to become legal. They are illegal. They crossed the border. Whatever happened, they need to go back. They need to come back the correct way. And that's just the end of the story, because it is so messed up, all the years of what our government has done to some of these people and used them. Now it's so convoluted that it's just a big mess. So that's
I don't understand why she's doing that, Julie. Because down here in Florida, illegal aliens don't vote. It's impossible. In order to register to vote, you have to show your birth certificate. I've been here 16 years, and it's been like that for 16 years. And even when you renew your license, you have to show your certificate. So I don't know what her purpose is.
I don't know, but I saw that Trump just endorsed her again to hold that seat. Now I don't know, what's going on with that, but this bill is being, picked upon, and it's really, it's coming apart. She even got community noted on her page about what she's saying about this bill. So what is it? Is it amnesty, or is it, what she's trying to say? I am not really quite sure. And I think it's
Again,
it's
Julie.
amnesty.
Julie, I think, and then we'll go to you fed up, and I'm sorry, Truth, you guys got it here. I'm sorry. 7 days. Anyway.
Wait, hold on one second. Truth. Also, make Marlon a co-host. I have to leave soon, so make him a co-host.
No, happening. I know he's bailing, so I gotta go.
Yeah,
Well, at least for now, until you find somebody else. Can you do that, Marlon?
yeah, that's fine. I'll just, I got to step in away, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll be here for a bit. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I brought up Terry. He helped me last night.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
There you go, Terry. Perfect. Hey, and no, I just listen. I want number one. I think that number one, Trump knows exactly who the enemy is now, right? I think it's probably more of a percentage than we had going into this thing, and I'm talking about listening to all the flip flops, everybody who flipped on Trump, and now they're kind of standing there with their jaw open a little bit, like, oh. Maybe I talked out of line too fast. I didn't give it time to realize what was going on. Again, this is why you should respect more out of the Gen X, because we've lived it. That's why I wasn't ready to jump on the train and start backing the Trump administration. Look at the guy. I'm so tired of it. I'm up to my eyeballs. Anybody that's lived through it, they know, and so do the Iranian Americans today. They know exactly what Trump was doing. This man is way ahead of us, dude. Know your role. I shut your hole. I mean, I've had it to the top of my tippy top. I'm giving no air to them at all. And everybody should really be looking at who's on the right side. What do you got, 30% now?
Oh, Marlon, I just love that though. Show your role where you shut your hole. Sorry.
Let's go to
I mean,
hands quick, Marlon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
That's okay.
I've been cooped up for the last 48 hours.
Well, set up and then Russell.
Yeah, y'all are spot on. Yeah, we were I was over in the punch bowl, and we were talking about the panicking people and how they're, and how absurd it was. These people running around, they see one tweet from Trump or one truth from Trump, and they go nuts. Like Trump doesn't talk like this. It's like, I said to them, I can hear Trump in Trump voice. I can't do Trump voice, but I can hear it. Him being, saying like, I wrote a book about it. Some people read it. Lots of people read it. It's called The Art of the Deal. You may have read it. Great book. And and it's like this is what he does. He shoots as far as he can, and then gets what he wants. Right? He goes to the absurd, gets what he wants. Sometimes gets more than what he wants. Right? That's the whole art of the deal. And these people are just exposing themselves over and over again. And when it comes to the immigration, I heard you saying about the sleeper cells, and I think that's a key thing because, the Trump administration understands that the sleeper cells aren't just Muslim. That's the thing. They understand, like they saw the hordes of fighting age Chinese men being bussed up to us from Panama. There's a center in Panama where they're being brought by buses. We have video of Mayorkas visiting the the center that's right beside it, the highest center right beside it, and other members of the Biden administration we have on video being down there. And and it's really key because they're some of the ones that they think were involved in really a test attack that happened here in North Carolina that we haven't seen happen since Trump shut down the border, because they went after our grid here. I don't know if most people remember, we had two small arms attacks on the grid here. And one, they shut down 45,000 homes with 3 rounds fired from a pickup truck that still to this day hasn't been caught. But there's a lot of reasons that they suspect those were not Muslim. They were Chinese that did that. And so there's way more to this than everybody does want to focus on. And of course, the news media wants to put forward oh, you hate brown people and blah blah blah, and make it all about the Hispanics, and put that forward that we're racist against a certain group of people, and we're not. We're against illegal immigrants because it's very dangerous, and even if they have good intentions, it's bad for our people. It's bad for the economy. It's bad for the housing market. It's bad for the hope of our youthful people. And I'll end here. I love what you said about the people that have been here for. I hear all the time this excuse. Well, they've been here for 30 years and they haven't done anything. Yes, they have. They've broke the law for 30 years. If somebody's been robbing from the local store every day for 30 years and you finally catch them, do you not charge them just because they've been getting away with it for 30 years, or when we finally catch these guys embezzling from a company, how long did Bernie Madoff rip people off for all these years, right? Or I'll bring up the last one before I end. People harp about all the time. How long did Epstein get away with it, right? Did we say, oh, well, he did it for years? No. You commit illegal acts, you commit illegal acts. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. That's just stupid.
I appreciate it, Philip. I know there's a lot there where we're talking a lot of ground here, but I do want to get to the hands, and then if anybody wants to comment, I might say that I'll go right ahead. But Russell, thanks for your patience, and we'll get to you, Tim.
Are you ready for me? Is that who you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I just something else I forgot to mention. I just got some sleep finally. I was up a long day yesterday. But anyway, I have a guy that I met when I was in Yazoo City, Mississippi, at the prison, and he's a Mexican guy. We call him in prison. They call him Paisas. But I got to know his story pretty good. He worked in a body shop as an American in Chicago, and was in the. He's been in the country for 30 years. He's got daughters. Bought a house in Texas and everything else. But needless to say, he was a little bit of a screw up. So he got a bunch of drunk drivings, and they've thrown him in jail and everything else. Well, between the transition between Biden and Trump, he was in prison, and he was, we were talking. I asked him his story, and he had, like I said, he had a green card, and then he screwed up and got arrested, and then he's been back and forth. He was in prison for re-entry, which is, coming back and forth across the border already, because he let his green card go, or something happened with the paperwork and he couldn't get back in legally. So he came across Eagle Pass. Well, I looked on my WhatsApp, and he had tried to contact me, and I called him back, and I asked him, I said, well, what are you going to do now? Are you trying to get back? His whole goal was to get out and then come back, of course. And he told me, no, we must wait. You know what I'm saying? And so that tells me right there that, and he's one of the old school guys. He'll walk up through that mountain and come right across, no problem. And his only issue is he drinks too much, and then he gets in a car. And that's terrible to do. But anyway, he told me, he said, right now, everybody on the other side of the border is on hold. They're not even trying to come over here because they know how that Trump's got his foot on their neck. So, and he probably, I don't know if they'll ever let him back in with his criminal drunken driving record, but You know, he's one of the guys that we wouldn't have to worry about shooting at us. We just got to keep him out of the car. But it was just funny to hear him talk. And like I said, I got to know
Russell,
We
we can't
lost
hear you.
Russ. If you can hear us, buddy, we can't hear you. While we try to get him back up here, go ahead there, Tim.
What, 1 second before tinfoil goes, guys, I'm gonna drop down to listener because I'm gonna go to do my doctor's appointment. Thank you, Terry, for stepping up here and helping out Truth. And I will go to listener, guys, and I love you all. Just go down to that purple bubble one more time, like and reshare it. Please go over to YouTube and to Rumble and like it over there too. Give it the thumbs up so it gets up on the algorithm.
Yeah, I fell out. Yeah, I fell out. I don't know what you guys heard, but I was talking about my buddy that I was in prison with and the trials and tribulations he's dealing with on the other side of the border. And Trump's doing a hell of a job if he can't get across because he's an expert at it. But,
Right.
go ahead.
No, I was saying, right. You know, I mean, they know, like, nope, not this time. We were not getting away with it.
Yeah, they're not even going to try to come through the mountains. And like I said, the guy's a good guy. He's got a good heart. He gets intoxicated and makes stupid decisions. There's a lot of people like that. I would love to get him over here to tell you the truth because he's old school. I do paint and body work, and I've talked to him enough, and he sent me some pictures yesterday from Mexico of what he's doing over across the border. And I wish I could get him over here. He's worth every dollar that you would pay him because he works himself to death. And he's 60 something years old, you know, and it's a shame what he's had to step back to I don't know where he's living at, if he's living in the body shop or what, but apparently he's been out for about 2 months. He's bought himself a little moped kind of thing so he can get around and stuff. And he seemed in good spirits, and sure like to see people like that over here rather than people over here wanting our money, you know. Anyway, I'll land it right there.
Yeah, I know there's so much in that there, Russ. There's good people that come here that want to kind of pursue the quote unquote American dream, you know, but get caught up in the mix. They just miss somehow. Things happen. I get that. If you want to come here and live the American way, absolutely come on in. But if you're coming here to cause trouble or, you know, grift or take our money or whatever, you can kick rocks. But Tinfoil, thanks for your patience. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, it's all good. I just want to comment on what Fed Up was saying. When he talked about the power substation was getting shot at. One thing I've been learning is like how poorly our substations and our entire grid system is basically falling apart. And there's certain transformers in some of these substations. If they do blow up, to get a replacement will take 6 years because guess where they come from? China. So we'll see how that goes. And that's why I've been trying to push for alternate means of finding ways to power our homes, because when you have a system that's controlled and locked down and just they're refusing to even do basic maintenance on, we know where that's going to go. Eventually it's going to fail to a point and it's going to call it a cascade. It's just the nature of the beast. So instead of trying to, rebuild these systems and, trying to bring back coal and everything, that's why I try to push reading about these alternate forms like zero point energy and so forth. Because if we could find out how to tap into it like the previous inventors have, well, that's another way we could power a home and basically free ourselves from the system and help each other develop these devices so we can basically power all our homes and we don't need the grid anymore. And that's something that I know I sound like a broken record, but that's why I keep pushing and keep coming in here and keep talking about it, because we definitely need to get off the grid, because eventually it is going to fail at some point. And I'd rather not us be on it when it does fail, because I don't want to see people go out with power. It sucks, especially when you're in the middle of the summer and it's hot and sweltering and you're sitting at home that's basically turning into an oven box. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's really hard to deal with me. But that's why I keep pushing though, and I'll land there.
Yeah, I know there's a lot to that there, Sinful. A lot to that. And making us basically codependent on every damn thing. Um, from what you're talking about, our energy to our health, to legal issues. I mean, right now everybody's going through the old tax thing, doing their taxes. I mean, the way that everybody feels about damn taxes, like none of us should be paying it until they get their act together and can verify where every to the penny, every one of our tax dollars go. Like, no, you're not responsible enough to handle it. Y'all are stealing from us. So you know what? We're tapping out this time. No thanks. Get your shit together, right?
Well, it's like L.B. Johnson was quoted at a graduation ceremony when he brought up about weather modification. He said, "He who controls weather controls the world." Well, in this case, he who controls the resources controls the populace, and that's the way I kind of look at it that way. And being in IT, being a network engineer and administrator, and truth, you know this too, is one who controls the administration password controls the entire network. And and that's the one system I want to see get away from, at least on resources, so we can be free, so we can be self-sufficient and self-reliant on each other, and not the system itself anymore, because that's how they were able to capture us in a way.
Well, I mean, talking about a lot of our components and whatnot being all made out there in China. I don't know if people even realize this, but the FCC made a new rule that you are not allowed to use, own, sell, whatever, a Wi-Fi that's not American made. So all a router, if you don't have internet, you know what I'm talking about. So as of right now, technically, all of us in here in this space are outlaws. We're all breaking the new law because there's only one company in the entire country that makes routers here in America. So that's another thing to throw out if you didn't know that. Look it up. It's in the FCC new law. But go ahead, FedUp.
Yeah, I was actually just watching a video this morning about that, how they're working on that, and the companies are trying to fight back on that because it's an untenable law as of right now, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it's it's good old Trump again shooting for the moon and putting a fire under people's butts to get stuff done. But it opens up opportunity. I see it as opportunity for a lot of companies, like looking like what direction do we go? What can we sink our teeth into that's gonna support our company and give us some profit and give people jobs? Well, there's one. That's the new law. So if you're looking for something to do and a new company to start making Wi-Fi boxes. You know what I mean? Start making routers. Anyway, Marlon, you still with us, bud? All right. Well, that would be a no. I see Sonny just came up. How you doing, Sonny?
Oh, I'm in Wisconsin and we totally lost our Supreme Court position by 300,000 votes. So no Republicans showed up. And sure enough, she had tons of money from outside the state supporting her. Well, I think we're in big trouble. But I actually spoke with, I don't know if I want to name him, but he's from Wisconsin. He's a judge himself. He's working under Pam Bondi. And I asked him if he met Trump. And he says, I've met him several times. And he said he is extremely hardworking. He's always putting people on task. He is exactly who he says he is. There is no filter. He's working as hard as he possibly can for the people. And I said, can you tell him that the vaccine sucks? And he says he knows. And also in my state, they are pushing like crazy during pregnancy that COVID vaccine again. I'm seeing tons of it. And I'm very concerned that they're going to try to do another COVID something. I don't know, but they're not letting up on that vaccine. And all charts old expired COVID shots are all marked invalid now. So if you didn't get a recent one, your record looks like you are invalid, which I've never seen an old vaccine say invalid, but all old COVID ones are. And I'm seeing more people get it right now than not get it during pregnancy. So just wanted to share my scary thoughts. And, you know, I think we're still in trouble. I really do. I think we've got to get our protests about the vaccines out or something. But I think there's also the acknowledgement that it's damaging people, but how do you bring that out and not ruin the United States reputation and economy and everything else? I mean, obviously we talk all the time how we're responsible for it in so many directions, but that's what I wanted to share. But we need to build our conservative communities better, and we need more money. But thanks for letting me speak this morning.
Well, thanks for coming on. And Terry, by the way, your cousin, so you can just jump in whenever you want. I just did want to say something. If somebody's getting the vaccine at this point, that's just sheer stupidity, brainwashing. I mean, there's enough damn information everywhere on how detrimental and how evil and anyway, but don't get me started. Go ahead, Terry. Come on, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry. Come on.
All right, I'm coming on. Sonny, there's good stuff there that you were talking about. You know, when you look at this COVID thing that they did back a couple years ago, how the Democrats really ran with that, they got the power and they really tried to rule us. And I was just thinking about what you were talking about earlier, Truth, about how these foods are now having medicines in them and stuff. You know, I always looked at the COVID as a Fourth Amendment issue on the vaccines. What life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, the right of the people to be secure in their person. We have the final say as to what we put in our body, not the government. So to your point earlier, Truth, whether they're putting vaccines and medicines in foods and not telling the public, to me, that would be a violation of our Fourth Amendment right. But those are some really good concerns, Sonny. And it seems to me, at least, that the Democrats are more serious about turning this into a communist country than the Republicans are in keeping it a constitutional republic. And that is the major disconnect right there. Thanks.
You know, Terry, and to Sonny, thanks for coming up and talking about that today. And I'm sorry, Truth, I am in and out here. But, you know, when you watch our TV, we have our government facilitating this, showing pregnant women getting the COVID vaccines, getting flu shots, talking about now they're talking more of Hep C shots. Make sure that you're getting your Hep C shot, because there's been some controversy about that. The CDC is no longer requiring Hep C shots at birth. So you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, people.
Those are Hep B shots.
The Hep B shots. I'm sorry, not Hep C.
That's okay.
So I think there's a lot of things that we need to combat where, hey, that corporate entity, and I think that's why it takes a community to do this, and people pointing that out and being able to expose that. I'm watching my government. They're doing that here in New Jersey. They're promoting it, Sonny, with these pregnant women with these shots.
That's scary. You know, again, it goes to show how imperative it is, even though we think that, you know, we're kind of sitting here in an echo chamber and blah, blah, blah. When people do listen or somehow stumble upon a space like this, hopefully they get information they don't know that they hadn't heard before. And that's why it really is important for us to talk about these issues and bring it up. And yeah, Sonny, we're glad that you came up and said something. I see Apothecaryl's down there, but for some reason she can't take a mic. I know she would have a lot to add as well. What's up, Tim?
I would hit the information I would bring to a lot of these mothers too is I would have to ask them and say, okay, if you guys feel like you need this vaccine, why is it that every movie we have about viral outbreaks and diseases The cure is often found in the mother's placenta. About every movie we have, the cure is always found in the mother's placenta. The placenta. English is hard for me.
Placenta.
Placenta. And the thing is, I would try to point out to them is nature has a way to protect the children in the womb where you don't need a vaccine. Nature has a way. God has developed a way to protect the kiddo in the womb. That's why just about every subplot involves the placenta as the cure for the disease that they're dealing with in the movie. I mean, we have natural barriers for a reason. We don't need all these chemicals.
Well, the other thing that's fascinating always to me, and I'm sure Apothecary would agree, is the very nature of nature, quote unquote, is amazing because there's nothing in nature that doesn't have a cure. The easiest example would be poison oak. We've all had it. You get scratchy, you get the bumps, the whole nine. But most people are unaware that the cure grows right next to it, which is mugwort. So the nature doesn't, it can't make anything that can't be cured. You see what I'm saying? That's everywhere. So God, the creator of everything, wouldn't do it any other way, right? So anyway, Apothecary, am I tempting you enough to get up here, or are you just working and can't talk? Yeah. All right.
I was going to make sure that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I heard you like Dawson, but go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead, Marlon.
No. I'm just dying in the background. It's all good.
I had that bug. What you've got, it's just going to take a little bit of time. And Marlon, you talked about burnt toast earlier. There's this little tray under your toaster, and I didn't know this. You're supposed to take it out and let all the bread out of it because it will set your smoke detector off. But just give a little bit of time because what's kind of going around right now, it's just that's the way it's going to work itself out. Sucks that you're sick, my man.
That's what's getting older. Why don't we go to Apothecary? Well, she got a mic. How you doing, Apothecary?
See, I tempted her enough.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys are relentless. I'm actually driving to go see patients, but what you were saying about nature is so true. The way I usually say it is that nature balances itself, and if we kind of leave it alone, it's going to stay in balance. If one of the most striking examples I ever saw was I knew someone who had a ranch, 3,000-acre ranch, big ranch. And the ranch had, house and outbuildings and all this stuff. Well, after the gentleman died, his sons could not keep the ranch going. And, they sold off all the cattle and that kind of thing. And 20 years later, and I had seen the ranch, when I was a young lady. I had seen the ranch in its heyday, right? Lots of cattle and all this stuff. Well, 20 years later, um, I had gone back to the ranch after 20 years after the gentleman died. I didn't know him very long, but I went back to the ranch and like everything was gone. The roads were gone. They were overgrown with stuff. This was before the boys sold the ranch. Things were, disintegrating and crumbling. The fences were all down and covered up with stuff, dirt, blue. It was in Oklahoma, so you get a lot of wind and stuff, but covered up with dirt and vines and whatever. Like you couldn't see the roads that led in or led to the outbuildings, nothing. And that was, 20 years. In 20 years, I'm thinking in another 20 years, the place you wouldn't even know that had those buildings, and they were wooden structures. They were all wooden structures. So they were just like down on the ground, crumbling, falling apart. Nature is going to reclaim itself and it's going to balance itself out. And the things that we put up really are kind of temporary when you look at the grand scheme of things over the course of human history. I know things like the pyramids have survived very long, but overall, like nature is going to take over. And what's interesting, I had seen an article a couple weeks ago where I was reading that now about 60 something percent, I can't remember the exact, of all of the newer medications that have been developed in the past 20 years are all based on a natural substance where they became, they do this reductionistic thing, but they find the active ingredient in a natural substance, and then they replicate that in a laboratory. But just that one component, they're not bringing in all of the other components of that natural substance, usually a plant. And so now when they isolate that and synthetically create it, and we've been knowing this all along, but what struck me is that 60 something percent of the new medications in the last 10 years are doing this. And then we go scratch our heads going, well, how come it has a side effect if it's the same molecule? Well, it's the same molecule without the other components to balance it out. In nature, all those other components work synergistically to balance out. But when we, in our hubris as people, in our arrogance, think, oh, I'll just take the one active thing, I'm going to make it, in a laboratory, it'll be better than nature. And then we find out we end up at these problems, right? So, yeah,
Carol, can I
yeah.
ask you a question real quick? So, and it's great to see you this morning. Thanks for coming in and popping in. But didn't we see this in the variants in COVID? Hey, me being a guy that, hey, I'm an avid fisherman outdoors, and I see cycles even in wildlife where, hey, some of the broods will be stronger. But we saw this example in COVID. And remember, they came out with the very first one that was, well, I say they came out, the very first one that hit us was very detrimental to people that had these outstanding illnesses, and it really attacked those vulnerable people. And then we saw other variants come out. Now, they may have been more contagious, but they weren't nearly as lethal as maybe the first round. I mean, isn't this what nature does? It takes that checks and balances and works it out in a nature. You could see it in the variants on how destructive they were. Later on, that showed me an example.
So what happens with variants? We used to call them mutations back before COVID. With the flu would mutate, right? And what triggers these mutations is the pressure that's placed on it with a vaccine. Those viruses are going to try to survive as they replicate. They're going to adapt in a survival mode, and so they will mutate, or they will become a variant of the original. And unfortunately, fortunately, as they mutate, they do become less lethal. They will become more transmissible, much easier to catch, but they're not as detrimental to health. They don't make you as sick. Now, if we had just left the COVID to run its course without a vaccine, that would have happened naturally as people develop natural immunity, and it would have gone and played itself out. Maybe it would have recurred as a variant later, but we put so much pressure on the disease in the community by vaccinating that these things started happening very, very rapidly. And that's not a natural course for what we call a virus, and that is supposing that it was a virus. Okay. There's a lot of controversy right now about whether viruses even exist. So I'm working from the supposition that they do exist and it was a virus. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I just look at the way that the evolution of it, right? Where, hey, it was more deadly the first round, less deadly to say, as those variants came out, they were more susceptible. But again, we're discounting the common cold that we've been dealing with all of our lives. I look at it from, what I see it in my own environment. I see it in fish. I see it in deer. I see these cycles. I know that nature took over there. They, you know what? In fact, I don't think they realized that nature was going to do such a good job at taking over. I think this was, a detriment to part of their plan at the end of the day, Carol, if you believe in that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, there's just a lot of nuances to all of that. And the common cold, that's a really good example. the flu, they develop these vaccines every year for the flu, not even knowing which strain of the flu they really need to target. And that's why our efficacy on flu shots is so low and always has been, is they don't know which strain of that. And they go around and they change or mutate, whatever you want to call it. And they're just
Isn't that
guessing.
why it takes so many years for a vaccine to come out? Because the variants, they have to prepare for this. That's why it takes 4 or 5 years for a vaccine to come out in the first place, once they go through the trials and everything else, right? I think people forgot this, Carol.
Yeah, that's true. To get it through a clinical trial for safety and efficacy testing, that takes more than a minute to do. That takes a few years. I mean, it has taken us up to 10 to 15 years on some of the vaccines that are on the CDC schedule. But yeah, this really rapid response and not taking a few things into consideration or stopping to say, this is it would have been one thing to unleash it onto a small population of people, as in that's what they do with the clinical trial, but to unleash it globally like that, nobody could tell me back before they released it that there would not be repercussions from this. It's like it was almost like we somehow lacked common sense globally about what would happen when you take something like this and unleash it all over the world at one time. Yeah.
Well, okay, so let me jump in here. We got to look at the other side of this. That, of course, they didn't care and knowingly created this quote unquote vaccine, which is not even remotely close to an actual vaccine. It's an mRNA or DNA changer. But the flip side of this is that was all planned to infect us, to kill us off. Remember the goal here. It's been spoken about by so many people so many times that they want to depopulate our planet. So I mean, we can sit here and talk about the vaccine and what it did, it didn't do, how effective it was, how long they should have taken to do it. But the reality is, this was planned. This was they're pushing the red button, so to speak, of the Democrats. Like, oh crap, Trump is going to win again. We got to do something. All right, well, this is our plan B. Let's put it into action. Let's create this manufactured quote unquote virus and sickness, but magically, let's make the flu disappear. Nobody died from the flu. Nobody says shit about that. But then, okay, well, what's our solution? Well, we're going to give them a solution, all right. We're going to wipe out more people using this damn mRNA thing than actually died from the quote unquote virus. You see what I'm saying? I just got to throw it out there because, we're talking about all kinds of stuff here.
It's also the first time that during a pandemic that the United States has ever given a vaccine or developed a vaccine, which was actually developed probably back in 2015. With that being said, it was the strangest thing that, as a nurse for 47 years, that I have ever seen happen. It's never been done before. A vaccine all of a sudden is developed for a supposed virus, which they've never been able to isolate in a petri dish.
Yeah, Apothecary, didn't mean to cut you all off. I just have to throw it out there. We've got to look at all sides of this, right? And I know you do. I'm just saying in general for everybody listening here. So please, hopefully you didn't.
Yeah, just like she mentioned, and I wasn't sure who that was. I didn't recognize the voice.
It's Susan.
Susan, yeah. Just like she mentioned, like there were so many, one little bit of weirdness and something, you kind of go, okay, well, that's a little weird. But there were so many things that completely went against everything we had learned to be true about communicable disease over the past 2,000 years, including what we've known for the last 100 years since they started developing vaccines, or 100 and some years. Everything was just not lining up. Everything was so bizarre that those of us that had kind of seen and maybe even lived through the swine flu vaccine, when they pulled that off the market, when we had been kind of watching this and observing it, we went, wait a minute, none of this is lining up with what we know to be true about virology, about vaccinology, about communicable diseases. We were like, this is so crazy off base. But of course, when you're a lay person, and I had to talk to lay people and say, well, what do you know about this? What do you know about that? What do you think about this? In order to readjust my mindset so I could think more like a lay person, they were just like, I don't know, but this is really scary, and people are dropping dead in China, and we got to have a vaccine, and all this. I was like, wow. It gave me an indication of how the general population was looking at this. So it's very understandable the populace response to it. I understand. It was simply the programming. I hate to use that word, but the programming we received. You're right. Truth. This was all planned. They knew from these different things like the swine flu and Zika and all these other things. They knew how to adjust and adapt and modify and change things to get people to comply with this. And it was, yeah, I hate to even throw the nefarious, reasonings and the nefarious plan behind it all, but I have to admit that this was not good.
Well, I mean, the thing that got me the most, because I was a medic in the military and out on military and all that kind of crap. Went to med school, dropped out. Anyway, the thing that gets me is the damn mask thing. Like anybody with a brain that's been, training, has any kind of training, any kind of background, knows for a fact that those damn masks, I don't care what, unless you're in a full suit, ain't gonna do a damn thing against an airborne virus ever. So that was another thing that was overlooked. That got me in the Facebook jail at the time for telling people masks don't work. They never have. They never will. Read a book. But it's interesting how all those books somehow disappeared and new manuals came out talking about masks. It's just such a crock of shit. But anyway, Apple, I see you came up. I'm sure you got something to add. Thank you, by the way, Nika, by coming up and co-host. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Apple. Sorry.
No, it's fine, Truth. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Let me put my glasses. Hi, Nika. And everybody. So when we talk about that, I'm not a nurse.
Oh no, Apple, it's already cut you off. And you just started with I'm not a nurse. So come on back up here, drop down, we'll bring you back up. Go ahead, Tim, while we wait.
As she comes back up, I will say that I had one easy way to prove the mask didn't work. That's you got your one in a car with the windows up, stop by Taco Bell, and then just wait a minute or two and raise one side and just let it rip. And then if the ones that are trying to climb out of the car, you just look at them and say, see, masks don't work.
That's a funny way to prove that, but yes, you're right. Apple, is it working for you now?
I'm going to try. It always cuts me off. So let's go back to the AIDS epidemic, the training ground for, I think, a lot that we saw in the COVID. 88, 89, 90, and a bit of 1987. I was Hollywood Community Hospital, Hollywood Hospital, the stomping grounds of AIDS and what it looked like. And Fusi was also there. Isn't that interesting? So when it came up, it took them a minute to identify it and how it was transmitted. And right away they knew it had to be sexual or had to be close contact. And so, and we learn, I don't know, we learn out here in Southern California, we learn. So a lot of people in Southern California, when COVID came, we're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we've done this before. And I remember, and I know I go back and that's just my brain. Sorry, guys, try to keep up. So when I was younger, way before that year that I just mentioned, immunity is so simple, but the more you want to complicate it, it's confusing. Your body is made to recognize viruses. We got little soldiers. And when they come in, they start recognizing, let's take a picture of it. And they're like, okay, guys, this is what we have. They go into this attack. there's some virus, and then they kill it. They go into a fever, you kill it. That's just our body. But what happens with certain viruses like HIV was one of the biggest ones for me to understand, was that it mutates. It really does change. So you cannot isolate it. Whether it's man-made, I'm not going to have that discussion, or nature-made, because that's not my, that's not my lane to explain this, but I know what happens with injections and shots and cures, and we all now figure this one out. So when the COVID came, it's the same thing. It was like, okay, we're back. And but it wasn't the same, so I kept my ear to hear real quick things: how it's transmitted and who is contaminated, or who. That's what I call it. I know there's a medical term for this. So, and when they said that it could be, like a virus, the flu, the COVID, what's COVID? Well, COVID is an old term for flu or virus. Virus flies, bacteria travels through coughs or something you touch. If it's wet and sticky and it's not yours, don't touch it. That's a good thing. So, and then when the mask came, I knew they were full of it, because it's like, okay, so all the holes on the side, but that comes from me being, in a different time in history. So I knew I was not going to play with that. It doesn't matter what Trump said. It didn't matter the administration. It didn't matter how many nurses, registered nurses in television, and doctors, specialists in immunology, are telling me that if I don't wear a mask, I'm going to die. And I could bluff real quick on that one, but that's not because I'm a smart person or a nurse. It's just that I sort of lived through a lot of things in my life. So that was like, you're retarded, you're stupid. But unfortunately, not everybody, live my life or each other's lives. But they've used this confusion and fear mongering to control us, and absolutely was made it. AIDS was created to kill homosexuality, the homosexuality that beautiful demographic. And now they're replacing it with transitioning our children and body parts. See, I can put all this together in my mind on how 20, 30 years later is just a continuation of what it is. So it's simple. There's just some viruses, whatever who created them. It wasn't Jesus. Trust me, it was not Jesus. It's made to kill us. Is made to control us. And they will attack certain demographics, whatever's bothering them. Could be the white man that's too smart, so we're going to have to do away with him. It could be the black man. He's becoming a problem. Let's see with this virus, what does this do? We are a petri dish. And to me, it's not that confusing once you understand the virus. God made us to take care of ourselves. God made us to protect ourselves. This is non-God-like. Everything I've seen in my lifetime that is detrimental to humanity is not. And COVID, let me tell you, never or hardly killed anybody. It was the way they were executing the treatments, and not because they withdraw from giving antibiotics to people. How do I know this? Because I have a very close friend that literally almost lost a son in a respirator, had to be transported to several hospitals and saved his life. She got the jab, he got the jab, her husband got the jab. Every 3 people in my life, their parents died when they got the jab. And they didn't die from the jab. They died because of lack of medical care. And one of them, the youngest one, didn't die fast enough, so they put him on a respirator and they literally killed him. Now we know this, right? But we didn't know that at the moment. So that's where I stand. They're trying to euthanize us. And you can go home to your spice rack and find a cure for just about anything. Supplements don't do anything but make your liver work overtime, and kidneys and the whole system. That's not how God made it. So I would suggest start researching your spices, your turmeric, your ginger, your paprika, even your salt for some things. So anyways, I just wanted to say that. I hope it makes sense. Thank you.
Well, good to see you, Apple. Thanks for coming up here. And again, wanted to say a quick hello to Nika since she stepped up here to help out.
Good morning, Truth. I apologize for being so late. I had a pain management appointment this morning, but I am happy to jump up and help as much as I can. I do. Okay, so Apple, I agree with you 100%. Truth, I agree with everything you were saying. The masks were an absolute joke, but I made a lot of money off of them because I was in the business of selling them long before COVID. So when they came along, I had a discussion with my higher ups, and we all agreed that we knew they didn't do anything, but that the perception was that they were going to help. And perception, unfortunately, was reality. And everybody decided to put a diaper on their face and walk around and collect bacteria in their mouths and destroy their teeth. I mean, masks did a lot of damage, guys. Remdesivir killed a lot of people. My cousin being one of them. I mean, this was an attack on the human race in general. Like this was global. So this was done on purpose. I truly believe that. Something that I saw early this morning to keep in mind, and I will, as soon as I am back at my house, I'm only, I don't know, maybe 5 miles from home, but as soon as I'm back at my house, I will share in the bubble. They are now injecting fish with 50 plus vaccines. I don't know exactly what vaccines, but I'm going to tell you right now, it can't be good. And they are doing it in fish farms, but if you watch the entire video, a lot of them fish are being released back into our lakes, our streams, our rivers, everything. So keep that in mind, and I'm not trying to scare anybody out of eating fish. By all means, if you're gung-ho to eat your fish, but it's just something, one other way that they are attempting to get these chemicals into our bodies. So I'm just going to mention this. Sage, I don't know how many people know Sage, but Sage sent me a link a couple of years back to run hair sample tests to find out what kind of heavy metals and all that kind of stuff you have in your body. I actually ordered one for my father shortly before he passed away, and my mother sent the sample in. My father had very, very high amounts of arsenic. His mercury was high, but not like super high, but he had very high levels of arsenic, and we have no idea where it came from. My father, I mean, we were raised on a farm. We ate everything that we grew. You know, we slaughtered our own cows, and pigs and everything. I mean, everything was homemade. My yogurt was made at home. My ice cream was made at home. Everything was homemade, and still somehow over time he had managed to get very, very, very high levels of arsenic in his body. He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but I wish we had done the test sooner. Honestly, I truly wish I had convinced them to do it sooner. But just something to keep in mind if anybody's interested in the link for the hair sample test. I can forward it to you. I have it from Sage saved. I'm actually going to run one on myself. I just ordered it and I'm waiting for it to come. So as soon as it comes, I will be doing that. But I recommend everybody check where you are. And you don't have to use this specific one. You can reach out to, there's a lot of people on here that are very well versed in this kind of thing, much better than I am, obviously. But if anybody's interested, I'm happy to send it to you. Just shoot me a DM and I will forward you the link. But Truth, thanks for having me up. Marlon, I hope you're feeling better. Happy to help anytime, it's needed.
Well, thank you, Nika. Sorry for your loss there. I would definitely look into all the crap that they're spraying over us, right? You raised eating your own food that you all grew. How could that be poison? How could it have arsenic? And that's one of the big things that we know is in there. But that's a whole discussion that I'm sure we can go into. I just want to get the just a real quick bigger picture here on how little, unfortunately, most people know about their own body. And I've said this before, but think about this. The only one true thing that you'll ever own that is yours your entire life is your body. And how little people actually know about their own body is it's unbelievable, quite frankly. People fill their minds with a whole bunch of sports statistics or different cars or whatever the hell it is that they get into and know, but they know so little about their body, and they've taken advantage of that with all this crap that we're talking about. If people really did start to study their own bodies, they would have a deeper understanding and would have seen what this was right from the get, which I did. Luckily for me, I studied all that crap in pre-med and whatnot. But I challenge everybody, learn about your body. What's scary, and I know Carol, you would agree, if we asked everybody in this room right now in this space to point to every organ in your body and describe what it does, unfortunately, over 90%, a higher percentage than that, wouldn't know. That should scare the crap out of you. You should know what's in your body, how it works, and what goes on. Just the very basics. And it's really not that hard, believe it or not. But go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I agree. I tell people, taking care of yourself, it's not difficult, it's just different than what we're taught to do, what we've learned to do. And some of it is because we really kind of, most people just don't really understand the function of various body systems and parts, and it can get really complicated. Like, you can dig in there really deep and start looking at metabolic pathways and stuff, and nobody really needs to do that, though. You don't need to know all that stuff to just know how to take care of your body. The thing that as we move forward, I mean, we can rehash COVID, and it's good for us to think back and remember and remind ourselves about all of the nonsense involved with COVID, so that as we move forward, we're better equipped to deal with anything else that might come up. But one of the things that I noticed, and I've been looking at this for a long time, I've been a nurse since dirt, and it's that people are more willing to spend a little extra money on a little bit better car, a little bit better house, a little bit nicer clothes, a little bit fancier restaurant. I mean, people are, upgrading whatever. You go for a manicure, and the basic one is $20, but the little bit better one might be 30. And oh, well, it's just a little $10 extra, that kind of thing. Like, we'll do this. A little bit better motor oil when we get our oil changed. I mean, we'll do this. We'll upgrade on just about everything. But when it comes to the stuff we put in our mouths, people who don't want to upgrade, they don't want to buy better, more pure food from, somewhere where they might have to, it may not be at the grocery store, it might be somewhere else. They might have to go get it. People don't want to upgrade on that. That's where people want to scrimp financially. I mean, we've all grown up with the coupons. Cut your coupon and get your groceries a little cheaper, or sign up for that grocery store's membership, and you get the little discount. That's where we all want to scrimp and save, is on the stuff we are putting in our mouth that feeds our body. So that's something that, and when once a person kind of changes that mindset and says, my food is my priority in this life because to sustain me, then the rest of it actually gets a little bit easier to do, even though it's, a little confusing at first. But once you figure out this really isn't that difficult, it's just different.
Right. And look, our fearless host, who's not the host today, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, Marlon.
Carol, this is our responsibility. It's really due to my wife that has taken the steps to be able to kind of take all the seed oils that we shouldn't be ingesting, taking the chemicals out of our diets, knowing where our food is coming from. This is an initiative by my wife, and she's done a great job at it. Now I understand and I can taste the differences in food. When I taste vegetable oil now, it's almost revolting. One of my most favorite pizza stop spots, they have a grandma pizza, which is you know, an Italian with mozzarella. It's great, but I can taste the vegetable oil in it. I feel like I'm much more susceptible now. But those changes, I can taste the difference in the food.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes the differences that we taste, are a little bit off-putting at first. We are accustomed to certain tastes that we begin getting from the baby food jars or the infant formulas. And we get accustomed to those flavors and those tastes. And then when we get something natural, at first it's like, okay, well, this isn't the same. Well, no, it's not the same. Thank goodness it's not the same. But in like the taste of bitter, people are so repulsed by bitter, but there's a reason bitter taste buds to detect that bitter flavor and transmit that information to the brain. There's a reason that's there. So I think that sometimes all we want is sweet and salty, and we need to kind of get away from some of that. Once you start eating good, clean food, it's just like you, Marlon, and then you go back and you taste something that's, the way you used to eat. Now you're like, wait a minute, did I really used to eat this? This is terrible. So yeah, I get it.
Like Entenmann's donuts. You know, on the list of bad foods, you know, Entenmann donuts are on the very top of the list. And you know, now when I eat one, I can taste the difference. It doesn't taste nearly what I think it was in my mind my entire life of eating these things, but now it's much different. I can't even stomach it now, Carol, because I can taste the vegetable oil in it.
Well, and you get to the point where you can taste chemicals and you can smell chemicals. When we're inundated with this all our lives, we get desensitized to that. But once you clean everything up, now we can smell these things and taste these things that are harmful to us, just like they did, thousands of years ago when they were, the cavemen and going all the way through history. People could smell and taste something that was not good for them. We've lost our ability to do that.
Well, we've been programmed otherwise, you know, to get far away from it. To where, remember, when America first started to grow, uh, people would grow all of their own foods. People lived on out in the land on farms, and you know, yes, you had people in cities, but most people provided for themselves, or they sold some of their goods and provided for others. And then, you know, you fast forward to where everybody's now just reliant to go to a damn grocery store. Hardly anybody grows their own food anymore, right? And so we've gotten so far away from, you know, providing for ourselves. Excuse me, I don't know what's happening to my damn voice, but providing for ourselves versus now we're just so codependent. You know, that again leads back to what I was talking about regarding our health and our bodies. We know so little about it. We are taught society wise for everything to look outside of ourselves for answers, right? If you got a legal thing, you go to an attorney. If you got health, you go to a doctor. If you got tax questions, you go to a CPA. Everything is outside of ourselves instead of learning how to deal with it within. You know.
But wait, the truth and listen, hey, real quick. I would like to say hello to Nika. Nika, how you doing? And I've been on the Moline now for a couple days, and it's helped me out big time, especially being sick. But I just thought of you every time I drank that pond scum.
Pond scum. Oh my gosh.
Good morning, Marlon. I'm glad to hear you're okay. You're a little rough there. I can still hear it, but you sound all right.
Getting there, getting there.
I see Goats came up. What's up, Goats?
Good morning, y'all. Good to see you back.
Well, I'll tell you what, brother, I couldn't be here without the help of people coming up here and doing the show like Terry and Nika and Truth and putting it on, man. Just shows you how valuable the community really is, Goats.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. we can have a captain, but if we ain't got, you gotta have everybody, Marlon. You can't just have one guy up there at the top. A lot of people it takes to do good work. So
Well, he's welcome to come back and do this hosting crap because I'm at my wit's end with it. But we haven't asked people to do the old like and share. Coming from my voice, people don't seem to listen. So, Nika, you have a very much nicer voice than me. Do you want to ask?
Okay, so if you haven't already, please go down to the purple bubble and like and share the space. And also please jump over if you have a YouTube or a Rumble and jump over and please, please, please jump on and check us out over there. And if you're able to, please subscribe. We would really appreciate it.
See, it just sounds so much sweeter and
It
nicer.
does, man. Thanks for saving us today, Nika. Good to see you.
Happy to be able to be here, Marlon.
And again, Terry, buddy, you're quiet. You're
Yeah, come on, man.
Jump in whenever you want, but I really appreciate you helping me last night, stepping up today. It means a lot.
Well, I'm going to come in real easy here. I was thinking about this repost. Marlon's like a son to me, and Truth, you're like a son. And, I see all these people listening, and we need to repost the space because this is a good space. A lot of good people, a lot of good stuff. How's that? Can we maybe use a little mob kind of rule on getting people reposted? But thank you for Truth. Thank you.
What's the other one? Jesus is watching.
Yeah, we joke around, of course, when we do our Bible study space. And Ms. Gypsy, she's jokingly it happened, and now it's a thing to where she's like, y'all need to repost the space and like it. Remember, Jesus is watching you.
That's hilarious. Skinny, go ahead, man. Skinny, what's up, buddy, man? I
Good
haven't seen you in a while.
morning. Good morning. I like your nasally sick voice, Marlon.
Hey, Marlon, don't backseat host, you bastard. Okay, go ahead, Skinny.
Sorry.
For the rest of the people, no repost, no mic, bro. Come on, bruh. Repost the freaking space, bruh. Come on, etiquette. Jeez, Louise. Yeah, look at Vegas. Oh, man, we used to bring some people up in the pond. He's like, dude, you didn't even repost my space and you want a mic? Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. Truth was talking about anatomy, and you guys can say what you want about Robert De Niro, but one of the greatest lines that he ever spoke was, would you like to touch it, Greg? When he was wearing the fake boobies. Remember that? Chest feeding, Greg. Oh, man. Marlon, you keep it up, dude. You're not going to be able to eat out like my family at all, ever, anywhere, except for very select places. And I will tell you, in the pizza department, we have this place here that they say they are.
Is he rubber banding?
Uh-oh.
No, I can hear him good. You're good.
No, that's me probably sniffing. Allergies are coming in hot, even though I don't really have them. We got a place that's doing pizza dough, sourdough style. So it literally sits there and ferments for 3 days before they make a pizza with it. I got to try it last week for the first time, and it's freaking amazing. Absolutely life-altering. But I harken back to the days when I was a little tyke, before I was even in school, and my mom would make pizza about twice a year because it was such an ordeal. But man, we used to let that, little kids, and it's like Christmas. You put that dough together, and then your mom covers it up and puts it in the fridge. She's like, we have to wait till tomorrow. It's like, why? But
Skinny, you say that, and there's a chain here, a restaurant chain, and I'm good friends with the owner, and they're called the Cinder Bars. Anybody in Gloucester County knows exactly what I'm talking about. They've perfected this. The dough that they use is 4 days old, and they are, and they're known for their pizzas now because the pizza's crust is so light and non-filling. It's not like a lead weight when you eat it. And he said this is taking his business on a whole new realm just for waiting the 4 days for the sugars be eaten out of that product. It's really cool, actually, when you come down and think about it.
Yep, and we noticed that towards the tail end of the chicanery known as lockdowns. You know, obviously, food delivery became very popular, and we actually had a local chain open a shop here in Carson, and they would deliver like 24 hours a day. But we noticed right away that some of the major chains, when we ordered from them, within 30 to 40 minutes, that everybody in the house wasn't feeling so hot. So unfortunately, a lot of our local restaurants, vegetable oil, all of these things, not to mention where in the hell are they getting their meat? Since we've been buying. Yeah, no, exactly. They don't even know, right? They don't know how that meat's raised. Switched, and we're, and many of you know this, sorry for the friggin' broken record here, but we're on our 6th whole beef. We just started our newest cow over the weekend. We had some T-bones that we put out with the Easter dinner, and I don't dare touch a piece of beef out in a restaurant anymore, and pork, right? Because we've been buying whole hogs too for 5 years now. I'll never go back, man. I'll go be a freaking greeter at the Walmart just to buy my meat. If I got to get a second job, because we can't do it anymore. And I think a lot of people are finding this out, that once they make a break away from this stuff, that once they get in a tough spot and they go back. That just happened to me at the beginning of March, right? I was living out of a suitcase for 4 days over the hill in California. And it's really sad, but the only place I had to eat was the grocery store, and there was an In-N-Out right next. It's like the only thing I could eat without making me feel absolutely disgusting or giving me the damn scoots, because I'm not used to all of the shit that they put in our food. Pardon my language. And other than that, what afternoon, everybody, by the way. Just a reminder for your panicking friends. What kind of amazing times we live in, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't care about Fartimus mission. I don't give 2 craps about the freaking rockets. I don't care. However, one of my favorite things to come out of this is that they, in air quotes, spent $4 billion to not go to the moon, but Gavin spent $120 billion over the last decade, or whatever we're dealing with now with this freaking bullet train in California. And yeah, they can't even take anybody down to the homeless shelter that doesn't exist on some train that will never exist. So you guys take it for what you will. Oil crashed overnight. Remember, somebody took a long position in the billions of dollars just a couple of weeks ago at $153 a barrel. Some hedgy went long. They were banking on a forever war, guys, and it didn't happen. Holy moly, this is freaking amazing. Absolutely effing amazing, guys. Anyways, it's Friday for me, by the way. I'm taking my first break in over a year, a whopping 4 day, maybe five days off. And it just so happens that the first day of the Masters is tomorrow. But if I stay home for a week, I'm a dead man. I know you know what that means, Marlon. When you're moving and you've been doing it for way too long, if you stop for the wrong period of time, you are absolutely cooked. So I'm staying home for 4 days to hang out with my kids on spring break, and I told my wife when the overtime goes away, I'm taking 2 weeks off because I'll need it for sure. But anyways, what a time to be alive, guys. LFT. Let's freaking go.
Well, Skinny, always great to see you and hear you jumping up into space. You always bring a smile to everybody's face when you talk. But we have quite a few hands. Let's go, Goats. I know Vegas just came up. We hadn't heard from him. Then we got Susan as well. So go ahead there, Goats.
Yeah, we're built for this shit, ain't we? I always love hearing Skinny talk. He's always tough. He always got something good to say, something positive to say, a good outlook on life. That's why I like him so much. We're talking about the repost of the space. We got repost space or no mic, repost space because Jesus is watching, repost space or you're a communist. How about repost the space or you must have visited Epstein Island? How about that? What do you think about that?
You can always count on Goats to talk a bunch of crap. Thanks, Goats.
Yeah. Yep, that's all I got. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, 10, and then we'll get to Vegas.
I was going to say that one thing I'm finding out that I'm going to start revamping my backyard to be able to grow stuff here locally is I've been learning how to use technology to help me aid in my endeavor. Because with my mobility the way it is, it's a little hard to get around, but I'm making it work, and technology is helping me get the way there. And Skinny, since you brought up Artemis, I'm gonna geek out here just for a second. When I saw the CNN screenshot of aerospace engineer Miles O'Brien, I got really giddy because that's a character in Star Trek, which you guys know that's my favorite show. And when I got to looking at Elon Musk, he posted a post and quote tweeted a gal named Suzanne Z talking about Frontier Academy of the Space Force, which has a picture where they want to build this thing at, which is near the Golden Gate Bridge, just at the same spot where Starfleet Academy is built. And in the Space College, they have a hall called Gene Roddenberry Hall. And I'm like, oh my God. Gene Roddenberry is the creator of Star Trek. And to even, tweak my geekness even further, when Space Force came out with their emblem, it looked very similar to Starfleet itself, because I remember George Takei throwing an absolute fit over it. And if you take the Starfleet Delta and point it upside down, you have the same symbol that Trump keeps showing, the tip of the spear. So I'm going to say it. Starfleet is real. Starfleet is real. And I'm so excited.
I always count on you, Tim. Thank you. Vegas, go ahead, bud.
Hey, what's up, Truth? What's up, Nika? What's up, Terry? I see Marlon, Ninja, Skinny, my boy, and Julie. Yeah, I just had to jump in. I like to hear Skinny all fired up, dropping movie references as usual. This is what I'm talking about. I was praying about that last night and this morning on the way to work. Things are real heavy. The only thing that you can change the energy is to be light and understand. We can only control our energy and our actions. And I feel people are so caught up and fired up in every little bunny that runs by. I mean, life is so good. We're living in the greatest time to be alive. I mean, the easiest thing to do is stop listening to people like Larry Loomer and Cat Turd and, I hate to say it, but Dilly and all these people that are one side of the coin. Then you have the other side of the coin that are trying to create chaos. When we can discern for ourselves, no one really knows what's going on. You can kind of get an idea, but Skinny brought up a great point, and I'm going to drop it. But everyone's like hedging that oil is going to go through the roof. Well, as anyone who's worked in business, you drive around in sales, whatever the case may be, they're going to manipulate the oil prices regardless of where it sits because that's their opportunity to make money. So I've watched that forever. When I was a rep for Nike Golf, I used to go, oh, gas is going down, so they're just going to raise the price of diesel so they can get their action going. Oil plummeted so far, and in Vegas, gas is up so high today, and I just laugh because I'm going to control myself and what I can control. I got to get better at that because I think stupidity is really hard to deal with. I think people that are emotional, it's really hard to deal with. So For me, I apologize if I come across fired up. I just am so surprised people follow every little white rabbit that runs by and can't, as I was just saying in the pond, build a bitmap, put the pieces on the board, and you can see what's actually going on. The picture is being painted. But most importantly, just enjoy life. Like Skinny said, the Masters starts Thursday. No wonder you took your vacation this week. You haven't had a vacation. Yeah, you haven't had a vacation since the Masters last year, let me assume. Skinny's a good golfer, so I can see why he would do that. So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Great space. And I'm more of a Star Wars guy than a Star Trek guy. I do like Star Trek, but I'm a Star Wars guy. Just saying.
Here we go. We got some fighting words going back and forth already. Skinny, I'm sure you want to respond to Vegas. Go ahead, bud.
$188.89 to fill my 3/4 ton Dodge with $6.19 diesel on Saturday night. But I laughed because this is some of the worst fuel prices since I think we hit $5.49 at one point, like 08 through 10, which is what helped clean me out, helped me to lose my home, my first home, the only home I ever bought. So yeah, almost $190 fill on a little tiny pickup. And when as burned out as I get 6 weeks off a year. I did not use one day of it last year, not one day. I typically have to change the oil on my pickup twice a year. I put 2,800 miles on my truck last year. That's it. That's literally the 3.5 miles that I drive back and forth from my house to my job. I have done nothing. You guys hear health say it all the time. Bills paid, investments made. That's what I've been doing the whole time. And boy, I haven't touched a golf club. Actually, we got pictures this morning. They moved my daughter 1 year ago today. They moved my daughter out of PICU. I had a week off last year at this very moment because my daughter was in the hospital. I took that week off to help my wife get adjusted to dealing with type 1 diabetes and a little kid, and then right back at it. Yeah, it's been a lot. I'm beyond the point of exhaustion. I'm beyond the point of getting mad because, just like Vegas said, the grift, what I pointed out, and the street talk I got from a lot of guys at work who are borderline panicking is they'd walk up and say, "Oh, your boy Trump with the fuel." It's like, bro, something went boom somewhere. And since Desert Storm, or even before that, you are auto-programmed to accept that gas is going to double. That's not the case. There's no reason for the price of gas to go up like this at all. Like literally, there is no case study for us to accept that fact. And I've been pointing it out since it happened. The grift, because something went boom somewhere, is so fake and no offense to anybody, it's so fake and conscripted and programmed into people that they're just like, "Oh, thanks a lot." Yeah, well, guess what? The grift just got laser painted, and for oil to crash like it did last night instantaneously, silver shot up, crypto shot up, stocks went up almost 3%, just like that, because some people said some things. Unreal, man, unreal, and I refuse to chase it. I just hope people realize that it can't be a light switch, and it shouldn't be. That's great. And as far as retardedness too, I've been waiting on the plumber to pull up in the Winnebago from Spaceballs to fix the toilet. That's all.
Good old Spaceballs. May the Schwartz be with you.
I see your Schwartz is bigger than mine.
Yes, it is. State the facts, bud. Anyway, well, nothing like turning this space around, right? Terry, Nika, any
I'll turn this space around right now.
right? Well, we will be ending this space definitely no later than 12 noon or 11 central or wherever in the country. But unlike Marlon, I'm giving you a fair warning now, and we're not going to do that whole hour plus long. Well, we're stopping the space. It's coming. So
Hey, Skinny, you talk about a plumber. Here, I put in the pill. There was a little present from me from my local plumber. That was in my brand new drywall job. It's okay there, Truth. I don't want to step on your toes, Nika, Terry.
no, go right ahead. Oh, Sonny came back up. Go ahead, Sonny.
Hi. So I wanted to share something else with you, but I was perplexed. Like, do I talk about this? But it's disturbing to me. The amount of, they're trying to divide us between still black and white, religion and everything. But the hospital that I work for, we are associated with a very large university hospital and community, which is very leftist. Well, they want to do a study comparing clinicians. They're basically evaluating if they are managing their black patients' pain less than their white patients' pain. And I have never worked with a clinician ever in my life that I've ever felt they are managing a patient's pain based on the race. And it's not like all races, it's just black and white. So, and then to hone in and say, like, it's only our hospital that's involved in this study. I don't know why we'd want to participate and say that our community is biased when I feel like we give exceptional care beyond the COVID vaccine. We care for our patients. I don't feel like physicians are knowledgeable to why they're giving the vaccine and what causes it harm. They're just trusting on it's on the schedule. And this is what we have to do because this is the only way we get our insurance covered and this is how we get paid, that they're sucked into it. But I've never witnessed somebody really manage somebody's pain because of that. So that's why I got off, because I don't want to participate in that study. But I felt completely offended and I felt like it was racist. But I'm very sad to see that we are letting universities influence our healthcare, our children's community, and destroying our country as being united and providing the best care and treating each other like we're equals and just humane human beings. But it's just, I really feel like we're just so in trouble. Humanity, the layering of the vaccines, the division that they're creating, and the lies. I really wish we went back to having the media having to tell the truth, because people on both sides feel very strongly that they are fighting for the right thing. They feel like they are fighting for justice on both sides. In some place, we need the truth to be spoken to the people so they're making the best decisions with their vote and with their health. So I just wanted to share that. But thank you for the space. I think we help contribute to changing the world and growing people that are educated and like-minded. But thanks. I hope you guys are having a great day.
Doing our best, right? Hey, Skinny, we hadn't heard from Patriot 12, so if you don't mind, let's go to him first, and then we'll get back to you.
Thanks, Truth. Great space, by the way. I just had a question for you. Yesterday's space, I came in the Bible space, at the point where you explained the documentary for losing a loved one, and I didn't get the title. I was hoping I could get it, and that was my only thing, since you said you're leaving at noon, and I'd appreciate it if you could give it to me. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, no, of course, man. I'm glad you came in there. Yeah, it's called After Death. I think it's still on angel.com, Angel Studios. So yeah, After Death. If y'all haven't seen that, it's definitely worth watching. It's a documentary basically about people who've had the quote unquote near death experience. And it was actually a study led by a doctor who was trying to prove it wrong, saying that it's just chemical reactions in your body that cause people to see things or quote unquote hallucinate. But it's really worth watching. And I know Miss Julie has seen it, and it helped her husband dealing with the loss of his father. So, but thank you for that. Appreciate you coming up, Patriot. Skinny.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I had to deal with that as a child, and I had to sort it out for myself, right? So it was weird, and of course, I've lost people since. So I don't know. It's for those who've never experienced it. It's a rough go, and I'm not going to say it gets easier. It definitely gets different in time, and unfortunately, a lot of folks went through a lot over the last few years in that department, and it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Um, but I've always found that in our darkest times that having a connection with the one who's really in charge is definitely the best way to go, rather than some other options that your television will tell you is the way to go, which is just go down to your doctor and get a pill. They make a pill for that. They make a pill for everything, right? Um, I'm not going to make light of what was just asked about, but Apple mentioned something. It's why I grabbed the mic. So thanks, Apple. She said she reminded me of, if you guys remember in The Great Outdoors, when the one wife told the other wife to go get herself a spin cycle. Apple mentioned your spice rack, so I hope she remembers that the next time she gets pissed at somebody. Because if you guys have ever heard her pissed off, it's freaking amazing. She's like a human flamethrower. I love it. That woman's full of fire. Still waiting on my neighbors to get full of fire, but I can't do that for them. They got to figure it out themselves. But Apple, don't forget to tell the next person you get mad at to go grab themselves a spice rack. Call you in the morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming for this guy. Jen?
I would say I think X is hiding me again. But I want to respond to what Vegas said. As for Star Wars, I would find it interesting to see a Borg cube go up against the Death Star. That is one battle I would love to see.
Dude, did you see what the Ewoks did to the freaking walkers, bro? Come on. All they had was some leather and some rocks. Come on.
Yes, I love those little things. They were one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, were the Ewoks. And also too, for Spaceballs, the guy that was in the desert combing the desert and he didn't found crap. He said he is known for that role more than his role as Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. He's frustrated talking about it, but it's
Case
funny
in point,
listening to
dude.
him.
Case in point that Vegas was trying to make.
Oh my gosh. See, this is what happens when Marlon's not leading. These conversations are allowed. So enjoy it while you got it.
Do you feel
Just go ahead.
do you feel like the substitute teacher, Truth? Sorry, I didn't mean to stop on anyone there.
I don't know what I feel like. I feel like ending the damn space, but go ahead, Vegas.
I was just going to say, I want to make it clear, though. I do not like Luke Skywalker. That guy was a total Mitch. He's probably transitioning right now to Lisa Skywalker as we speak, because that is one character they really dropped the ball on for sure. But I agree, Ewoks, awesome. Jar Jar Binks, no go. And Captain Kirk is a stud. So, obviously, that guy traveled the universe to find himself some women. So you got to give him some credit for that, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we got 3 boobs in the Star Wars bar.
And by the way, have you seen the Black Mirror with the Star Wars replica? That just cracks me up.
Well, dude, Captain Kirk, quote unquote. I love Boston Legal. I think that's one of his best roles. He just cracks me up, man. If y'all hadn't seen that, you should definitely watch it. He cracks me up. And yes, Captain Kirk definitely got around, right? He didn't care what they looked like. He just got around the universe.
He was thirsty.
I know Marlon's going to step in now. He's got to.
Yeah, no. Call that a coxman?
Captain Kirk, yup, he was a legend in his own mind, brother. It didn't matter, 3 boobs, whatever. Yup.
Green chicks, he didn't care. He was equal opportunity.
There was no prejudice there.
Yes. Where is this space gone to? We were talking about our bodies and health and all kinds of stuff. See, Father Carol, she's like, I'm dropping the mic. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out.
Well, you know what they said about R2D2, didn't you?